वागीशाद्याः सुमनसः सर्वार्थानामुपक्रमे यं नत्वा कृतकृत्याः स्युः तं नमामि गजाननम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। योगिनं विश्वनाथाख्यम् अस्मत्तातस्वरूपिणम् आत्मलाभात् परं लाभं वक्तारं न कदाचन गीतार्थग्रन्थकर्तारं श्रीगुरुं प्रणमाम्यहम्। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मे वाचं धृतिं बुद्धिं प्रचोदयात्। ओम नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमः। Friends, we are going to be doing Sanatana Dharma 21st session. This is Mother Goddess. Mother Goddess will have 3 sessions instead of 2 as I announced last time. So, of the 3 sessions, this is the second. So, Mother Goddess part 2 of 3. We already said that in order to propitiate Mother Goddess, there are 5 major pieces. Actually, there are 6. Shri Suktam from the Rig Veda, about which we have already talked a little. Devi Mahatmyam from Markandeya Purana, covering 13 chapters of it. Lalita Sahasranamam and Lalita Trishati, both from the Brahmanda Purana. Devi Bhagavatam, which is itself a Purana, and Saundarya Lahari, a collation and composition of Adi Shankara, as you all know. The seer of Devi Mahatmyam, or it's also called Saptashati, because it has 700 verses, like the Gita. The seer of Devi Mahatmyam is Markandeya Maharshi. The source material is said to go back to Devi Suktam of Rig Veda. It is a highly occult scripture. 3 major manifestations of the Mother Goddess are described: Mahakali, Mahalakshmi and Mahasaraswati. Between every 2 kalpas, kalpa is a day of Brahma, between every 2 kalpas of Brahma, there is a cosmic night, as long as the day. Mahavishnu was plunged in cosmic sleep during one such cosmic night when it was going to end. Created Brahma makes a pitiful appeal, prayer to the Parashakti, the Absolute. He appeals to her to wake up Mahavishnu from his Yoga Nidra, to handle 2 demons who are bothering him, who are threatening him. Mahakali manifests herself. The Mother God, the peculiarity of Mother Goddess, as distinct from all the other divines, is she just manifests herself when she wants, and she demanifests herself when she has done what she wanted to do. She doesn't have to do a descent, an avatar like Rama, like Vishnu, who did 10 or 12 avatars, who descended on the earth and took a different form. Mother Goddess manifests herself just like that. So Mahakali manifests herself. The 2 demons, Madhu and Kaitaba, who were bothering Brahma, were done away with as a consequence of this awakening of Vishnu. We are not getting into that detail now. This is the first story. In the second story, she manifests as Mahalakshmi with 18 hands and 18 representing the 18 Vidyas. She represents the total might of all the divines and all the gods, everything divine, because she has appeared from the inner vitalities of all the gods and divinities. The object was to do away with the demon called Mahishasura. His end had to be only at the hands of a feminine deity. That is why the gods together praise her as Adi Parashakti. who is at the root of all their strength, power, charm and grace. At the end of the stotra, she promises to come back whenever they want. She promises to come back to their help whenever they want. And the time comes. Asuras, Shumbha and Nishubha get to the peak of their terror. All these are described in Devi Mahatmyam. We are going forward. Shumbha and Nishubha get to the peak of their terror and terrorism. The gods invoke her again, Mother Goddess again, and recall her promise. Mother, you promised to help us. There is a beautiful stotra here, pregnant with meaning. It is the end of the stotra that Maha Saraswati appears. But this stotra, I am going to talk about it a little while, because it is very often repeated by the devotees. It is well known to the devotees. This is the one where you get perorations like Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Buddhi Rupena Samsthitam Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. This Namastasyai will be repeated 21 times in the 21 shlokas. Each shloka will have a Buddhi Rupena, a Nidra Rupena, a Shanti Rupena, a Lajja Rupena, and so on. So to that goddess who abides in all beings in the form of intelligence, Buddhi Rupena Samsthita, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu, whoever in all the divines in the form of Buddhi abides, to her my salutations. Namastasyai, 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 Namo Namaha. But don't take this to be just a mannerism of alliteration. No, not at all. It has profound significance. There are 21 verses like these. Each verse glorifies her as the personification in turn of one of 21 things. What are the 21 things? You see, just here I told you, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Buddhi Rupena Samsthita. So, that is Buddhi Rupena. So, like that, there are 21 things. Vishnu Maya, I am just giving you the list of the 21. So, consciousness, Chetana, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Chetana Rupena Samsthita Namastasyai, 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 Namo Namaha. When recited aloud by a large collection of people in the Sannidhi of the goddess, this will simply remarkably generate vibrations, spiritual vibrations. Vishnu Maya, Chetana, Buddhi, Nidra, sleep, Kshuddha, hunger, Chaya, shadow, Shakti, power, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samsthita Namastasyai, 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 Namo Namaha. Thirst, Trishna, Kshama, Shanti, patience, Jati, category or genus, Lajja, shyness, Shanti, peace, Vritti, Shraddha, faith, Kanti, brilliance or charm, Lakshmi, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Lakshmi Rupena Samsthita, wealth, attitude or activity, Vritti, Smriti, memory, Daya, mercy or compassion, Tushti, satisfaction, Tushti Rupena Samsthita, Mata, mother, Bhranti, delusion. So there are 21. The great Bhaskara Raya, who wrote a monumental commentary on Lalita Sahasranama, his commentary on this is called Guptavati. He makes a profound comment on these 21 verses that begin with Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu. He says, you know, the 700 verses are there in Devi Mahatmyam. But in order to get the number 700, people count these verses, each verse 3 times, just as it is. But Bhaskaraya says, no. Each verse has to be repeated thrice, of course, but not as they are, but the second line as Namastasya Namo Namaha. Let me give you the example. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Buddhi Rupena Samsthitam Namastasya Namo Namaha. That's all. This way, each repetition would have 24 syllables, like the Gayatri meter, as in the Gayatri meter. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Buddhi Rupena Samstita Namastasyai Namo Namaha. 24. So, this way each repetition would have 24 syllables, just as in the Gayatri. Now this is repeated 21 times. So each one is repeated 3 times, but there are 21 shlokas like this. So it goes on like that for the 21 shlokas. The number 21 itself is significant. In the sense, what does 21 reflect? It reflects the triple aspect of the goddess in the 7 planes of consciousness. Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipuraka, Anahata, Vishuddhi, Ajna, Sahasrara. So 7 planes of consciousness in the Yoga Shastra. So the triple, each one there is a triple aspect of the goddess, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So the triple aspect, 7 planes, so that is why there are 21. Or you may think of it as 7 lokas. Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Suvarloka, Maharloka, Janoloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka. 7 lokas. Or 7 Vyaghritis. These Bhurbhuva Suvaha, Maha, Janaha, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam. That Vyagriti, they are called Vyagriti. Of course, the first 3 Vyagritis, Bhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, the first 3 Vyagritis are called Mahavyagritis. Prefix an Om before that, it becomes Om Bhurbhuva Suvaha. This is a famous mantra, Om Bhurbhuva Suvaha, the Mahavyakriti. In all sacred talks, it is used in the beginning and at the end. It is like turmeric in cooking. In social Hindu culture, the mantra Om Bhurbhuva Suvaha is therefore a mantra turmeric. Mantra turmeric. It purifies and energizes everything. That is why when you want to purify something, you take a sprinkle of water, Om Bhurbhuva Suvaha. Every time, Om Bhurbhuva Suvaha, you sprinkle water and that purifies it. This is a mantra turmeric. Of course, in a more elementary understanding, the 3 times prostration, Namastasya, 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 Namo Namaha, the 3 times prostration is to indicate that we are surrendering to the goddess by our body, by our speech, by our mind. What? Kaya, Manovakaya. So that is about the stotra. Now let us go back to the story, narration of Devi Mahatmyam. So at the end of the stotra, Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu, the next manifestation of the goddess is there, that is that of Mahasaraswati. She came out of the body of Parvati as a personification of all that is knowledge, all that is skillful, knowledge and skill, Saraswati. What did she do? She just did the Hunkar, Hum, and she killed the demon Dhumralochana. You see, all these demons have to be killed. There is no other way to save the world from them. Of course, all this needed, this killing was not so easy. All this needed the greatest of divine machination and ingenuity, plus a brutal might. It had to match that of those demons. Sumbha and Nisumbha. So with the help of Mahakali, she put an end to Chanda, Munda and Raktabija. Sumbha and Nisumbha are also finally killed. At last, the gods heave a high sigh of relief. You should read the, I'm sure those who have read the Devi Mahatmyam will resonate with me. You should read it. When Sumbha and Nisumbha are finally killed, the gods heave a final relief. At this point, the gods recite a matchless stotra called Narayani Stuti. The greatness of Devi Mahatmyam is not a little due to these 4 stotras embedded in the narrative of 700 verses. The first one, as I told you, is the Brahma Stuti, in order to wake up Vishnu from Yoga Nidra. The second one is after Mahishasura was killed by Mahakali. The third one is before the appearance of Mahasaraswati, we saw that Yadevi Sarvabhuteshu. The last one is this Narayani Stuti. It contains 35 shlokas. One sample. But this sample is going to lead you to a discussion about women and reference to women in general in the scriptures. Tum Vaishnavai Shaktirananta Vidya Vishwasya Bijam Paramasi Maya Sammohitam Devi Samastametate Tumvai Prasanna Bhuvi Mukta Ketu. Tumvai Prasanna Bhuvi Mukta Ketu. The moment you are present in the on the earth, that is the provocation for us to get moksha. Mukti Ketu. Tvam Vaishnavi Shakti Ananta Vidya. You are the supreme energy of Lord Vishnu. Vaishnavi Shakti Ananta Vidya. You see, supreme energy. Vishwasya Bijam, originating seed of the entire universe. Vishwasya Bijam, Parama Asi Maya. You are the supreme Maya. You are Parama Maya. Sammohitam Devi Samastametate. You become the cause of liberation. No, you. Sammohitam Devi Samastametate. All this universe is charmed, deluded by you. Deluded and charmed by you. So when your presence becomes clear, Tumvai Prasanna Bhuvi Mukta Ketu, you become the cause of liberation on this earth itself. This is like that, it goes on. But the stuti goes on, and look at the first line of the next shloka. Vidya Samastas Savadevi Vedah Sriyas Samastas Sakala Jagatsu. Vidya Samastas Savadevi Vedah Sriyas Samastas Sakala Jagatsu. All the arts and sciences, Vidyaha Samastaha, Samastaha Vidyaha, all the arts and sciences. Devi, O Mother. In fact, all knowledge are only different expressions. Tava Devi Veda, different expressions of your light. Samastaha Sakala Jagatsu. Sriyaha, Sriyas Samasta Sakala Jagatsu. Sriyaha means woman. Samastaha means all. Sakalaha also mean all. Jagatsu, in this universe. All the universe, all the women in this universe are always expressions of yourself. I will repeat again. We are going to discuss this for a while. Vidya Samasta Sakasa Tava Devi Veda Devi Tava Veda, all expressions of yourself. What? Vidya Samasta, all knowledge, all learning. Samastaha Sakalaha Sriyaha Jagatsu. Jagatsu is the universe. Samastaha Sakalaha Sriyaha, all women. Now, there is a confusion here. Question by Pandits. Why the word all is used twice? Samastaha, Sakalaha, Sriyaha. Samasta means all, Sakala means all, Sriyaha, all women in the universe. So the Pandits have been debating in this. But there is a different perception. A little unlike what the Pandits held on to their meaning. We owe this interesting perception to Sri Aurobindo. Traditional Pandits have stumbled on the words Samastaha and Sakalaha. Because Samastaha means all, Sakalaha also means all. Why this repetition? The Pandits interpret this as, the second word Sakalaha they interpret as follows. Sakalaha is the plural of Sakala. So what is Sakala? Sakala. Kala means fine arts. Sakala, Sahakala, that is a woman endowed with the fine arts. So the meaning now they give, Pandits give, traditional meaning. The mother goddess finds expression not in all the women of the universe, but only in those women who are endowed with a skill in the fine arts. Samastaha, Sakalaha, Sriyaha, Tavabedaha, Devi Tavabedaha. So Sakalaha, Sriyaha means those women who are endowed with fine arts. So those who are endowed with a skill in the fine arts, only those women are expressions of the divine. Pandits were satisfied with this meaning. And the community of women took it lying down for ages, until Aurobindo came. Because this interpretation had the sanction of tradition, nobody even questioned it. Nobody perhaps even noticed the implied insult to women as a whole. In fact, another interpretation given by the Pandits, is as follows. Another interpretation given by Pandits is also in vogue. This is rather esoteric and involves some knowledge of the Kama Sutra. The word Kala has a meaning in numerology. It means 16, the number 16. It appears there are exactly 16 erotic spots in the body of a woman. So a woman endowed with Kala would mean, Sakala would mean, a woman who can respond to these 16 spots. That is, a woman between the ages of, say, 15 and 45. So then again the meaning of the verse would be, not all women, but only a certain subset of all women, namely 15 and 45, have the prerogative of being the expression of the mother goddess. Sri Aurobindo would not subscribe to this kind of interpretation, to either of these interpretations, which distinguishes between woman and woman. So, look at his interpretation now. Kala also means a part or a fraction. So, Sakala should mean all the parts are present or represented. In other words, its meaning would be fullest. So thus the word verse would mean all forms of knowledge, samastaha vidyaha, are only different manifestations of yourself, O Mother, because that says vidya samastas tavadevi vedah, all knowledge, all learning are different expressions of yourself, certainly, but sakalaha samastaha sriyaha, that is, the sriyaha, the woman, or the fullest expression of yourself, or the fullest expression of yourself. So all forms of knowledge are only different manifestations of yourself, O Mother, but in the universe, the community of women are your fullest expressions. Sakalasam Jagatsu. In fact, this is the principle behind the ritual of a Suvasini Puja in the common Navaratri celebrations. It is the Indian genius of considering each woman as the fullest expression of the Divine Mother that is missed by readers, neophytes to Hinduism, the lay writer about Hinduism. No other culture gives such a great status to women. If we, products of the 20th century and after, in our ignorance, misunderstand the Hindu scriptures to imply a demeaning status to women, we have ourselves to blame. No other civilization can perhaps speak of a Divine Mother with such a disarming familiarity as Hinduism does. In this context, let me dispel some of the cobwebs of misinterpretations that are prevalent regarding the interpretations of the word woman in scriptures. Take the famous sloka, chapter 9, sloka number 32 of the Gita. Mamhi parthavyapashritya yepi syuh papayonayah striyo vaishyas tata shudrah tepi ante parangatim. Mamhi parthavyapashritya, those, Krishna is speaking, those who take refuge in me, O Arjuna, though born from a womb of sin, yepi syuh papayonayah, papayoni, womb of sin, striyo vaishyas tata shudra, woman, vaishyas as well as shudras, tepi ante parangatim, they also attain to the highest goal. So here the reference to woman makes it appear as if women are classified in a derogatory way. Yepi syuh papayonayah. But first note the context. Krishna is talking about the efficacy of a constant awareness of the omnipresence of God. If a man of very evil conduct turns to God with a soul and entire love, he must be regarded as a saint, says his shloka number 30. Apichet suduracharo bhajate mamananya bhak sadhureva samantavyaga samyak vyavasito hisaga. Apichet suduracharaha, even if he be a vile conduct, right? Apichet suduracharaha bhajate mam ananya bhak, if he worships me, if he propitiates me, if he comes to me, right, as the only goal, as the only resort, with a soul and entire love, sadhureva samantavyaha, he must be considered a saint. Because why? Samyak vyavasito hisaga, he has taken the right determination, right decision. Samyak vyavasito hisaga. Swiftly he becomes a righteous soul. Chipram bhavat, next sloka. This is 30, sloka number 30 of chapter 9, Gita. Next sloka 31 says, Chipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat chantim nigachyati. He becomes a righteous soul very soon. Chipram. Kaunteya pratijanvanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Hey Arjuna, go and declare from housetops. Pratijanvanihi name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee never perishes. Never perishes. So that is sloka 31. And then the sloka 32, which I referred to earlier, says, anyone who takes refuge in me, even if they be of vile conduct, low evolution, striyo vaishyas tatana shudra tepi ante parangatim, they also attain to me. It is in this context he talks to of women. In fact, throughout the Hindu scriptures, Wherever women are referred to, because women are supposed to be temptresses, all sorts of things are told about the word woman. Wherever women are referred to in this strain, remember, it is the womanly qualities of fickleness, proneness to material desires, and attachment to kith and kin that is referred, rather than woman as a class. It is the qualities. Take any person, man or woman, of lowly birth, or highly evolved environment. Such qualities of fickleness and proneness to attachment and desire would make it very difficult for him to rise on the spiritual ladder. Because the mind is monkeyish. To conquer it would be more difficult if the temperament is dominated by fickleness. It is in this context that the Puranas and scriptures refer to a woman. They say, even in such a circumstance, the thought, the awareness, and propitiation of the divine would take them upwards. One more example. It is in the same strain. Adi Shankara refers to women. Deham prodamapindriyamanyapi chalam buddhim cha shunyam vidum sri bolanda jadopama swagamiti branta prasambadinam. Deham pranamapindriyamanyapi chalam buddhim cha. Deha, body, prana, vital force, indriyani, senses, chalam buddhim, fickle intellect, shunyam, void. These are not the I-ness. Deham pranam api indriyanyapi chalam buddhim cha shunyam biligu. Who will think like this? Only deluded people. Such as, he says, next line, Sri Bala Andha Jadopama Swaham iti Branta Prashamvadina. They will say that that is I, the body is I, the vital force, I am the body, I am the vital force, I am the senses. So, only deluded people, Sri Balanda Jadopama, Jada Upama. Sri means woman, Bala child, Andha blind, Sri Balanda Jada. Jada means the total dud. Sri Balanda Jado Upama, such as those, like those. He doesn't say woman, child, etc. Like woman, like children, like the blind, like total buds. Those people who are like women, like children, like the blind, like total buds, they will consider the body as I and other things. Here the words woman, children, the blind, total dud are all there to indicate a quality of mind and evolution rather than the thing in itself. Please understand this. It's very often misinterpreted, and it is one of the criticisms against Hindu traditional scriptures. Quality of mind, it's a type of character which is narrow and possessive or immature like children. This understanding of the references to women in scriptures is necessary. Otherwise, the scriptures would appear to be ambivalent on the concept of what a woman is. On the one side, they refer to her as a possible lustful temptress, the occasion of sin for woman. On the other side, or another level, as a respectful wife, mother, goddess, she is praised to the skies. In fact, Manusmriti says, if one drop of tear comes from a woman in the family, the whole family, the clan would die, would perish. Is there anything worse than that? In fact, those who are familiar with Brihadaranyaka Upanishad would know the very occurrence of a long and profound conversation between Yajnavalkya and his wife Maitreyi. Also, the eventful participation of Gargi in the Vedantic discussions that took place in the assembly of Janaka. These things indicate that the later subjection of women, that all happened later, and their exclusion from the Vedas, the exclusion of women from the Vedas, was not valid, at least in those times. The concept of woman in India is something different from that in the West. In the West, womanhood is mixed with wifehood. In Hindu culture, the first thing that comes to one's mind when womanhood is mentioned is motherhood. The all-suffering, all-forbearing quality of woman as mother stands foremost in the concept of Hindu woman. The ideal woman in India is the mother first, the mother last, says Swami Vivekananda in a famous speech to an American audience in 1900. With this, we will close our session today. There is something more we have to talk about: Lalita Sahasranamam, Saundarya Lahari, and Lalita Trishati in the next session. This is Mother Goddess part 2 of 3. Please look for Mother Goddess part 3 of 3. Swasti prajabhyat paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahisho go brahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam lokas samastas sukhino bhavantu. Om Tat Sat.